Slam the door as hard as I can, shouting at my father who is yelling at me with his unthoroughly booming voice, his eyes expressing anger. His wife standing behind him with my new little stepbrother in her belly. She's holding it like she's thinking, please little fellow, don't become as impossible as she. I live in Akersloot when I live at my dad's, which is every other week. My mother lives in Kodijk. I've been in this position before, and I've walked all the fucking way from here to there, at night, next to the highway, and I was scared of becoming a newspaper article. Something about a missing girl, murder, traffic accident, wild animal kills young woman, or alien abduction. I slept in the garden that night. I'd forgotten my keys. It was teeth-clattering cold, and when I woke the next day, my neck and jaws were hurting from the violence of it. It gave me a pity card during the next shouting match with the other parent who wanted to argue. Usually I equal my mother's volume. That day I couldn't open my mouth far enough. She worried and took me to a doctor. While we were there, they looked at my jaws, but also at my behavior. They decided I really am a fuck-up, and directed me to a therapist. I was 16 and irresponsible. Sure, I was to call for an appointment myself. I stuffed the note into my sock drawer, and now pretend to have meetings with the Freudian lover, while I go think at the harbor for rich people, on some abandoned old boat I discovered a while ago. My mother is not noticing the absence of string bills because she's retarded. One can tell somebody is a retard when one marries a fake paranormally gifted half-assed homeopath, 10 years younger than she, who practices his business in the shed in the garden, where it reeks of campium fungus. Clients are being lured in by ads he puts up in the local newspapers. He is surprisingly busy because he's handsome and charismatic, and most clients are female. They just keep coming back. My mother slapped me when I suggested he was man-whoring around right under her nose. I like to spend time at my secret boat. Any other time and place me being left with myself, I go crazy. My mind is chaotic and stressed out. I pretend to have conversations with friends and relatives and my cat, thinking about what they would really say and what kind of tone. It's a small boat. 7 steps will take you from front to back. There's a cabin with a little orange flag on top, and bottles of wine dating back 10 years ago. I smashed the window of the cabin and found its floor covered in confetti. Where the sun can hit the inside, the colors of the paper are faded. I thought of this party on the boat a lot. Who were they, and why were they celebrating? I decided that when I would have another fight with my father, and we have them a lot, I should take the water route. I noticed when I took the highway, I was only walking parallel to the canal. It should be possible to use the boat. I can always climb back onto the land and go by foot. To the harbor, ignore the pretty boats and got onto my trustworthy one. I'm a bit euphoric. This is one of the most exciting things I've done. I feel a bit bad for my mother. She's going to be upset again. I feel sorry for myself too, when it occurs to me that they'll probably take away my boat and make me see a therapist for real. I meet other boats on the way for a while. Bigger boats. I'm not steering perfectly straight. People look at me funny. I'm dressed in a big jacket and a scarf wrapped around my head. Combined with me being tall, I hope they won't catch up on me being too small. It gets darker, and I tie flashlights to the railing on the front, one at the back. They were very cheap and give a weak light, but I can see how straight I'm going by looking at the lantern lights and cars next to me on the road. I stop the boat in the middle of the canal. I go into the cabin to get a glass of water. While I'm doing that, my cell phone rings. Hey Michael, I think I'm about to be murdered. Take care of my cat, will you? My mom doesn't give it enough attention. Oh, and... The stranger takes my phone and throws it overboard. I want to glare at him for doing that, but instead introduce myself. Perhaps politeness will save me. Hello, I'm Nadine. What's your name? I'm Thomas. Thomas, are you going to kill me? What? No! Hurt me in any other way. No, look, don't be scared. If you don't have any bad intentions, what the hell are you doing on my boat? Well, it's my boat, that's the thing. Do you want it back? Well, I don't really need it. What kind of shitty answer is that? We hear a splashing noise. We look over the railing to see a naked woman in the water, with a fish tail, straight out of a fairy tale. I can see Thomas's whole face lit up in a smile. The fish lady, on the other hand, looks rather worried. It's fine, Thomas tells her. I'll be right back. Okay, she says, as she dives under. You don't need a boat because you have your own fucking mermaid to take you wherever you want to go? I don't have a mermaid. I just hooked up with her. I don't need the boat because I never leave the water. But I wanted to know if my old friends or family were perhaps using it. And then I would have wanted to see them. It's been a long time since I left. I think of the wine bottles and the confetti. It was a goodbye party, wasn't it? Our breaths are making little condensed clouds in the air. Well, it was nice meeting you. He breaks the silence. Sure it was. You can keep the boat. It's nice that it's being used. I'm sorry I'm not somebody you'd hoped for. He makes a perfect dive, following his girl fish friend home. They find me the next day, curled up into the cabin. I had went there, leaving the boat to float on itself. I never noticed how it must have kept on going, and got stuck in the grass on the edges of my mother's garden. I dreamed about mermaids pushing and pulling the boat, guided by the voice of a young man. I lie on my mother's lap as she strokes my hair. That must have been quite a journey. She gets up to retrieve a worried call of a friend, who thinks to remember me saying I'm dead, but he was drunk at the time so he doesn't remember. My mother gets angry at me for lying to my friends, and I escape into the garden, to my boat, getting ready to go on my way to my father's house to Akersloot.